1:17:42. Please repeat after me. I seek blessings of His Grace Vijayapur and all devotees, so that I can speak in the mood of Guru Parampara. Thank you for considering my interest. 1:17:42. वृषस्य नष्टां स्त्रिन्पादान्
वृषस्य नष्टां स्त्रीपादान्
तपशौचं दयामिति
तपशौचं दयामिति
प्रतिसन्दद आश्वास्य
प्रतिसन्दद्ध आश्वास्य
महिं च संवर्धयेत्
महीं च समवर्धयत्
वृषस्य नष्टां स्त्रिन्पादान्
वृषस्य नष्टां स्त्रीपादान्
तपशौचं दयामिति
तपशौचं दयामिति
प्रतिसन्दद आश्वास्य
प्रतिसन्दद्ध आश्वास्य
महिं च संवर्धयेत्
महीं च समवर्धयत्
वृषस्य नष्टां स्त्रिन्पादान्
वृषस्य नष्टां स्त्रीपादान्
तपशौचं दयामिति
तपशौचं दयामिति
प्रतिसन्दद आश्वास्य
प्रतिसन्दद्ध आश्वास्य
महिं च संवर्धयेत्
महीं च समवर्धयत् वृषस्य नष्टां स्त्रीपादान्
वृषस्य नष्टां स्त्रिन्पादान्
तपशौचं दयामिति
तपशौचं दयामिति
प्रतिसन्दद्ध आश्वास्य
प्रतिसन्दद आश्वास्य
महीं च समवर्धयत्
महिं च संवर्धयेत्. Word for word translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Vrishasya
Of the bull, the personality of religion.
of the bull, the personality of religion.
Nashtan,
Nashtan
lost.
lost.
Trin,
Trin,
three.
three.
Padan,
Padan,
legs.
legs.
Tapaha,
Tapaha,
austerity.
austerity.
Shaucham,
Shaucham,
cleanliness.
cleanliness.
Dayam,
Dayam,
mercy.
mercy.
Iti,
Iti,
thus.
thus.
Pratisandadhe,
Pratisandadhe,
re-established.
re-established.
Ashwasya,
Ashwasya,
by encouraging activities.
by encouraging activities.
Mahim,
Mahim,
the earth.
the earth.
Cha,
Cha,
and
and
Samvardhaye,
Samavardhaye,
perfectly improved.
perfectly improved.
Translation. Thereafter the king re-established the lost legs of the personality of religion, the bull, and by encouraging activities he sufficiently improved the condition of the earth. Purport. By designating particular places for the personality of Kali, Maharaj Parikshit practically cheated Kali. In the presence of Kali, Dharma in the shape of bull and the earth in the shape of a cow, he could actually estimate the general condition of his kingdom, and therefore he at once took proper steps to re-establish the legs of the bull, namely austerity, cleanliness, and mercy. And for the general benefit of the people of the world, he saw that the gold stock might be employed for stabilization. Gold is certainly a generator of falsity, intoxication, prostitution, enmity, and violence. But under the guidance of a proper king or public leader, or a Brahman or sannyasi, the same gold can be properly utilized to re-establish the lost legs of the bull, the personality of religion. Maharaj Parikshit, therefore, like his grandfather Arjuna, collected all illicit gold kept for the propensities of Kali and employed it in the Sankirtan Yajna, as per instruction of the Srimad Bhagavatam. As we have suggested before, one's accumulated wealth may be divided into three parts for distribution, namely 50% for the service of the Lord, 25% for the family members, and 25% for personal necessities. spending 50% for the service of the Lord or for propagation of spiritual knowledge in society by way of the Sankirtan Yajna is the maximum display of human mercy. People of the world are generally in darkness regarding spiritual knowledge, especially in regard to the devotional service of the Lord. And therefore, to propagate the systematic transcendental knowledge of devotional service is the greatest mercy that one can show in this world. When everyone is taught to sacrifice 50% of his accumulated gold for the Lord's service, certainly austerity, cleanliness, and mercy automatically ensue, and thus the lost three legs of the personality of religion are automatically established. When there is sufficient austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, naturally Mother Earth is completely satisfied, and there is very little chance for Kali to infiltrate the structure of human society. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you, dear devotees, for your association. So, we are continuing our reading. In the last verse, we read, in the last few verses, we read that how prostitution, gambling, intoxication, and meat eating, and excessive gold, these are the residences given by Parikshit Maharaj to Kali. So, the last verse read, therefore, whoever desires progressive well being, especially kings, religionists, public leaders, brahmanas, and sannyasis, should never come in contact with the four above mentioned irreligious principles. So, Kali Yuga is given place in these four or five things. So, Maharaj Parikshit was very very conscious while he gave these places because he knew that he can control this in this society. He was a very religious king, so he was able to control these four pillars of irreligion by inducing people to perform austerity, cleanliness, mercy, truthfulness. So in a way, he cheated Kali Yuga, at least during his reign. So he re-established the legs of the bull by inducing people to perform this austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. For the gold, the stock, Prabhupada writes that he used it for stabilization. So I was checking what is the meaning of stabilization. And it says the dictionary meaning of stabilization is process of becoming unlikely to change, fail, or decline. Process of becoming unlikely to change, fail, or decline. In case of economic stabilization, it means government efforts to reduce economic fluctuations like recessions and booms and maintain a stable and healthy economy. So, we know historically there was a gold standard. The whatever currency was printed, the equal amount of gold was reserved in the banks, so that um, whenever there's an exchange of currency, you can always back it up by gold because gold's value won't come down. Currency is nothing but paper. It doesn't hold anything except the word. It is said your word is your bond. So we see on every bill, the government promises that whoever is holding this bill, we promise the person whoever has this bill will give him equivalent amount of money, or this is $1 and it holds some value, or this is $20 or $100, whatever it is, and they back it up because they have gold reserve for that money, so they can always pay it with something substantial. But I think 25 years ago, some time, 2 or 3 decades ago, this gold standard was abolished. So this is the height of falsity. Prabhupada writes here, right? Gold is certainly a generator of falsity. So this gold standard was abolished so that they can print money as they like, and um, your only guarantee for that money is the word of the government. There's nothing else. So the whole Kali Yuga is just relying on the truthfulness. If the government is going to support you, then that's it. I mean, but they don't have anything to back it up. They don't have the gold reserve. So it's actually relying on falsity. It's um, deceit. It's deceit. It's pure deceit. Prabhupada writes in one of the purport that ultimately the value of this currency is nothing but toilet paper. There's nothing, it's just paper. The currency is nothing but paper. I also watched one of the documentary about this. There's a documentary about this um, abolishing of gold standard, and it says that ultimately this paper will come down to its own value, which is zero. This there's no value to the paper. Actual value is in the gold. Ultimately, it was meant to be inspiration, but if it is not used in a proper way, it will lead to falsity, intoxication, prostitution, violence. So that's why public leaders are so important, because their word is their bond, and whatever they are giving to the society, they are actually backing it up. They are accountable for it. So they use gold for that purpose. That's why it is written, Prabhupada says, Parikshit Maharaj used gold for the purpose of stabilization of economy. Stabilization of, there's no decline, there's a healthy economy. So I was looking for examples how gold causes corruption in the society. So I checked Chat GPT. No, Chat GPT is a very good tool for getting the examples about corruption. So it gave me so many examples from the past. There is a Spanish conquest of the Americas which happened in 1500s, where they looted Aztec and Inca, these places, for gold. And there's a famous quote that we came here to be in the kingdom of God, to serve God, and to become rich. So they killed so many people in the Americas for gold. Then in 1600 and 1700s, 16th and 17th century, there's piracy in the Caribbean. There were pirates who will loot the ships and they will kill the people for gold. In 1800s, there was California gold rush. So many Native Americans were killed. So many Chinese people were made to work, labor hard for nothing, and so much violence was done. And not everybody became rich. Some people became rich, but most of them were left exploited. This is California gold rush. World War II, Nazi. They killed so many people. They conquered so many countries, and then they abducted gold from the banks from all these places. Then we also have the story of plundering in India. India, all the devotees will keep the gold. They will give the gold to the Lord. So the temples were full of gold. So the Vedic culture is about giving the gold to the Lord. as Prabhupada is saying, 50% should be given to the Lord. Even the kings were following this. So the temples were full of gold, and there would be so many invaders who would come and plunder the temples. There's a mention of Muhammad Ghazni, who came from the east, no, from the west, it's a Mughal emperor, one of the Mughal emperors, who came and plundered. So many times he came, plundered the temples, and went back. Then Mughals came to rule India, and still they were plundering. Then Britishers came, they were plundering gold. So because there's gold, India was known as a gold sparrow. There's so much gold in India. So many people will come to plunder gold. And there was a temple called Somnath temple, which was looted many times for gold. We also hear the stories of Vrindavan. There's a Radha Madan Mohan temple. There are so many temples which were looted by these Mughal emperors. And then there's also a story of King Vena in Srimad Bhagavatam, that because he was so greedy and he was so proud of his position and wealth, that he did not even accept he did not acknowledge the God or Krishna at all. So much so that he stopped the sacrifices, and he asked the Brahmanas that you should rather worship me. Why are you depending upon God? You are actually being unchaste. I am your supplier, I am your maintainer, and you are actually worshipping God, worshipping Krishna. He is not maintaining you, I am maintaining you. You are being unchaste. So these Brahmanas became angry and they killed Vena. Yeah. So we know all these stories that where gold became the cause of corruption, falsity, and intoxication. So Prabhupada further writes, if there is a proper king, if there is a proper public leader, if there is a Brahman or sannyasi, they can take care of the gold very nicely because they know what is the proper use of that gold. So there is a story of Maharaj Yudhishthir after the battle of Kurukshetra. He was very morose because 640 million people died to make him the emperor of the world. So nobody could console him. Lord Krishna could not console him. And after he was consoled by Bhishma Dev's advice, he wanted to perform 3 horse sacrifices, Ashwamedh Yajnas, in order to purify himself from that sin. So he did not have any money. That treasury was empty because there was a huge battle. There was no money. Of course, there was money for the state taxation and fines. I'm quoting this from the purports actually. Prabhupada, I read the purports. This is in first canto, chapter 12, 32 through 34 purports, birth of Maharaj Parikshit. So during that chapter it comes. And but that was not sufficient for performing a fire sacrifice, for performing Ashwamedh Yajna. So he needed gold at that time. So he was looking for gold in order to satisfy the Supreme. So Krishna helped him. So Krishna told him that there was a great king called King Maruta who performed huge fire sacrifices or ceremonies to please the Supreme. And the Lord was so pleased with him that he awarded him a mountain of gold, this King Marut. And King Marut was so pious king, every day his altar was made up of gold, the canopy was made of gold, and every day he would offer so much gold in charity to the Brahmanas. All the demigods were so pleased with him. Indra, Chandra, Vayu, they were so pleased with him. He wanted to have Brihaspati as the priest for his fire sacrifices, but Brihaspati, because he is from the demigods, he did not acknowledge. He said because Marut was a human being, so Brihaspati did not want to do that fire sacrifice. But on the advice of Narad Muni, he had this priest called Samvarta, who performed the fire sacrificial ceremonies for him. So he would distribute a lot of gold every day, so much so that the brahmanas won't be able to carry with them, and they will just dump it in the dustbin. So much gold was given to the brahmanas. So it was just lying there. This car, nobody knew where is this. So Lord Krishna knew this, that there is so much gold lying there in the Himalayas. So he informed Arjuna, and Arjuna went and claimed all that gold, because everything belongs to the king. So Yudhishthir uh, was right in claiming that gold. That's why Arjun is known as Dhananjaya.
Mhm.
Dhananjaya means one who is the conqueror of wealth, or Dhananjaya. Dhana. So he brought so much gold, and all that gold was utilized in performing three Ashwamedh yajnas, three horse sacrifices. And that's how Maharaj Yudhishthir atoned for his killing, for all the battle of Kurukshetra. Prabhupada also mentions that although animals were killed in those sacrifices, it was not meant for killing animals, but actually to give them a new life. Because the Brahmanas at that time were so powerful, by their incantation of mantras, an old animal will get a new body. But in this age, we don't have such kind of Brahmanas. So in this age, it is recommended to perform Sankirtan Yajna. So the leaders in this world can utilize the same gold for propagating service of the Lord, for propagating spiritual knowledge, as Prabhupada is mentioning, and that is the proper use of the gold. Um, we also know the story of Maharaj Ambarish. He used all his body, every part, every limb of his body to please the Supreme. He used his hands to wash the temple of the Lord. He used his legs to walk to the temple of the Lord. He used his eyes to see the deity, behold the deity, nose to smell the tulsi offered to the Lord, tongue to honor the prasadam, ears to hear about the Lord. So he completely used every limb of his body for the service of the Lord. And he used gold in service to the Supreme, in service to Krishna, and to give charity to the Brahmanas. Another example is of His Grace Amrish Prabhu. So his Maharaj Amrish Prabhu is today's example. In this world, he is so wealthy. He's one of the heirs of Ford family. So he's using his wealth for Temple of Vedic Planetarium. So that's a practical example. He's using his gold reserve to build a temple of Vedic planetarium, service of the Lord, and propagating spiritual knowledge in the world. So this is the display of maximum. This is a maximum display of human mercy. Prabhupada says. Why is this maximum display of human mercy? There are so many other causes. Why don't you feed people? You can give them clothing. You can um, go there and do some public relief work, give some medicine. Of course, they are good causes, but there are many good causes. There is one great cause, and that is Krishna consciousness. Why it is the maximum display of human mercy? Because it relieves people of their ignorance. So we know this story which comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that there is a son of a rich man who has forgotten that he is a rich man, and he is loitering in the streets. Of course, you can give this person food, you can give him medicine, you can give him nice education so that he can get a job. But the maximum display of human mercy will be if you introduce, or if you um, make this son meet his father, who is already rich. So he doesn't have to do all those gymnastics. That's the maximum display of human mercy. Similarly, when we remind people, actually, you are part and parcels of Krishna, you have a very rich father, then they are satisfied with whatever they have. That's the most important thing in this world. It doesn't mean that Difficulties won't come in our life. Difficulties will always be there. But when we know that we are son of Krishna, we are part and parcel of Krishna, he is our best friend, he is our best well-wisher, he is our maintainer. So we have somebody to depend upon, and we can ask him for strength to go through the miseries of the life, which which are good for us because they make us a better person. They make us more responsible. Frustration is a doorway to enlightenment. So, Krishna, whatever difficulties are coming in our life, they are sent by Krishna, our Father. So, we should see them as a lesson. We should see what is Krishna trying to teach me. So, in that way, that's the maximum display of human mercy for people. Yesterday, I met a couple on book distribution. They spoke with me for half an hour almost, Brittany and Cornell, and they were so spiritually awake. They're asking so many good questions, and they completely agreed with the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. Of course, they are following, maybe they follow Christianity, but they appreciated everything, and they took Bhagavad Gita very nicely. Science of self-realization, chant and be happy. And Mataji was very interested in higher taste. She said, I need to eat right kind of food. so so I was telling them the principle of offering the food, that it is so important to say a prayer, just like a child goes and maybe he plucks a flower from the garden which is maintained by his parent, and then he offers the same flower to the parent. Now this flower, now the is better than the flower which the person will just pluck and keep it for oneself, because now the parent is feeling so much happiness and pleasure. So similarly, when we get something, some food which of course we cannot create, God has provided us, and we offer it lovingly, we say a prayer, then that food is no longer ordinary, it's a spiritual food. uh, on the other hand, if we just grab something and eat ourselves, we are actually thieves, because we are not acknowledging whoever has given us that food. So we are actually thieves, and she really appreciated it. She appreciated that we should not take anything. And the person Cornell, he was saying, yeah, we should serve people unconditionally. We should not expect anything. If nobody is seeing it, doesn't mean that I don't give food to people who are needy. I should give without any expectation. I don't want anything in return. Just do the right thing. So he was already on that platform. He was telling me, unalloyed devotion, nishkam bhakti yoga. So service for the sake of service. That's what this spiritual knowledge gives to the people. Otherwise, people just stick. They are either vikarmis, they are performing sinful activities, or even if they are pious, they will live in the platform of piety. I give to God some part of my labor so that I can live happily in this world. Or they are mental speculators. They come up with different philosophies. Yeah, uh, every what yato mat tato, but whatever you think is right, all right. Whatever you have your own way, I have my own way. So they don't have clear conception that there is one supreme, and the goal of the life is to go back to the spiritual world. This world is not meant for us. This world is even if we are materially rich or opulent, still there will be miseries in this world. I was listening to Journey Home on the way back, driving back from LA to ISV. So I was hearing the story of there was some pop singer, John Worley. John, I think Maharaj was mentioning his name. I have to recollect. So he was very popular, and but one day there was a news that he overdosed on sleeping pills and he
Jimi
left.
Hendrix.
Jim Hendrix. What? Okay, I have to check the name again. Yeah,
Musician.
yeah,
Yeah.
musician.
Musician.
Jim Hendrix. Yeah,
Very famous.
yeah. And Maharaj met him on the airplane. Yeah, he actually inspired Radhanath Maharaj to play harmonica, and they did a concert in the plane, both of them in the plane. So It's amazing that even if a person is spiritually inclined, if he doesn't have the right knowledge, he will end up in all this. He will end up committing all. He will end up wasting this valuable human life. Human life is so precious. So that's why distributing spiritual knowledge, distributing prasadam, distributing holy name, this is the maximum display of human mercy to the world. We see also the story of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Whenever they would get excess donations in the mutt, he will make them spend everything. He will ask the disciples to do a festival and distribute prasad, so that they are always on their toes. We should never be having excess money, disciples. Otherwise we'll be lax in our service. Similarly, Prabhupada asked every devotee to go out on book distribution. He said we can't sit in seclusion and chant Hare Krishna like Haridas Thakur. That is cheating, because we don't have that much advancement. So we should go out and share this with others. Only one person should remain in the temple to take care of the deities. Everybody else should go out for distributing. So this is active service. There is a very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Nanama rupe gunajanma karmabhir nirupitavai tav tasya sakshina manovachobhyam anume vartmano dev kriyasu dev kriyayam pratyantyathapih. O Lord, your transcendental name and form are not ascertained by those who merely speculate on the path of imagination. Your name, form, and attributes can be ascertained only through devotional service. So there is no use speculating about this. One has to do Dev Kriyayam. One has to Kriya, one has to do activity. Then when Krishna is pleased, when the spiritual master is pleased, then we can understand Krishna's Nama Rupa Gun Leela, name, form, qualities, and pastimes. And when we do this this formula of distributing wealth, 50% for Krishna, 25% for personal necessities, 25% for relatives, family members, then automatically we have to be austere, because we won't have so much money left. So we have to be living little austere, and we will live clean, and we will be showing mercy to others naturally. Just like we know the story of Nal Kuvera and Manigriva. They were very opulent, but they were using that money for intoxication and engaging with other uh, ladies. So that was because they did not give 50% to Krishna. They were using it for themselves. So they got mercy of Narad Muni. If you don't do it the easy way, you will learn it the hard way. So they stayed in the courtyard of Maharaj Nanda for 1,000 celestial years before they could get darshan of Lord Krishna and get liberated. So if we do that, then Mother Earth is satisfied if we follow this principle of austerity, cleanliness, and mercy. And then there is no chance for Kali to enter. We can see this in our own life. Any place where there's an ashram, there's a regulated lifestyle, waking up, chanting our rounds, attending only program, honoring only prasadam. So this is our austerity, and we can see that there is no chance for Kali to enter in such a place. It is Vaikuntha. Otherwise, in a outside world, only two people staying together, there is dissension. Here we have 5 devotees, sometimes 7, but because we are all following a program, that's why there is so much cooperation. And we can see the movement of Srila Prabhupada. There are millions of souls cooperating. The movement is going on for decades because everybody's, at least the leaders, and everybody else is trying to follow these principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I would like to be corrected. Please, you can share any questions or reflections.
I have a question.
Yes.
So we hear that Rupa Goswami gave 50% of his wealth to service of the Lord, 25% for emergencies, and 25% he kept for Sanatana Goswami to take later. But he gave this after he had retired. So is this, and now we are anyway giving 50% of our salary to the government. So at that time, okay, maybe not Rupa Goswami's time, but in Parikshit Maharaj's time, let's say they gave 50% as tax, and Parikshit Maharaj is a suitable king to use it in the Lord's service. So is that counted as giving 50% to the Lord? And in our case now, 50% is already gone. So do we give 50% of what we have, or do we give after we retire, or how is that?
Yeah, there can be different ways to look upon it. It depends upon how much you earn. It could be different for different people because there are different standards for the living. So some person might be earning very meager. Some person might be earning in millions. So it's different. So one has to be sincere accordingly. My understanding is if we are living a simple life, we know what is our expenses for a month, living and food expenses. So beyond that, whatever is there, that should be divided 50, 25, and 25. Now, one has to be sincere about one's real needs. What do I really need on a monthly basis? That is up to you. What is my real minimum needs? So after that, whatever is remaining, we should do that 50, 25, and 25. That's my understanding.
Well, that's a practical way, but actually Prabhupada said 50%. Whatever you earn, 50% Krishna.
So
that's not very practical because people wouldn't be able to survive, especially nowadays.
Yeah, it could.
I know of a couple of people who are able to do that. Doctors, they have a lot of money. They can give 50%. But yeah, that's a practical way. Whatever after you're definitely needed expenses done, then 50%.
Yeah, my Shiksha Guru would say that look, if you're having my Shiksha Guru, like the person who guided in the Bhakti Riksha, he would say that if you're having programs in your home, like we see so many devotees that Sri Chaitanya Prabhu remodeled his house just to have a Bhakti Riksha. You see, like Pavani Bhakti Mataji, all these Prem Nam Prabhu they're keeping. So even that expenditure, yes, it's going. That mortgage is being paid, but what is that mortgage being used for? That is also in the service of Krishna. So if you're keeping deities in the home, all these things, and then what you said is you have to be sincere. You shouldn't keep Gornitai in one corner and then say this whole house is being used in the service of Krishna and buy one lavish house. Or say I'm taking car once a week to temple, but you buy convertible saying, it's being used in service. But if you're dovetailing the items you're purchasing, then that also goes into that sector of towards God. So that's what he was explaining. So.
Yeah, that's great. Any other points? Yes.
50% tax, 50% Krishna, nothing.
One thing that can help you with the taxes, Prabhu, if you give to Krishna, that is not taxed, right? That amount is not taxed. So that way you can increase. I'm not saying you have to do more, but I'm saying that much can be saved from taxes, whatever amount are giving to Krishna, right? So you can add that factor. It can increase your portion.
More portion.
Yeah. Fortunately, government still acknowledges it. Right.
Actually, one thing, bro, in India, it's a loophole that many people use. If you can show your income as agricultural income, you don't have to pay tax on that. So what many of the politicians do is they get one cow and then they take the milk from that cow and they just sell that. But then they show deductions of like millions of dollars for one glass of milk that they sold. And then they say it's agricultural income. So they don't pay taxes.
Yeah, it's
like that.
That's called corruption. Yeah. So yeah, scam, and they will get. Maybe they will be born as a cow next life. somebody donkey. So they will have to pay. Okay. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.